Do you remember that crazy lady that approached Niall McConnell in the street? She got out of her car and started screaming in his face, calling him all the names of the day. You remember the school teacher? Yeah, do you remember her? Well, she was given an award in Derry, an anti-racism award, I believe. We're going to get into an article now in just a little minute. And I want to break down to you telltale signs about what our future might look like under these whack job things that are happening around us at the minute. But first off, I want to talk about antisocial behaviour and how it's being rewarded in Ireland. So you've got a guy called Niall McConnell, who I've never heard him raise his voice once to anybody. He's very cool, calm, and collective. You could say that that's a tactic that he uses to wind people up. Okay, but regardless, that's who he is in nature anyway. He's very cool, calm, and collective. He says what he has to say, and regardless if you love him or hate him, he has exposed a lot to do with government corruption. And then on the other hand, you've got this teacher from Wales who jumped out of the car after she seen Niall protesting outside an asylum seeker hotel. She got out of the car and started calling them all the names of the day. Now, I really have to make this clear. I respect her right to do so. She's got every right to get out of the car and tell Niall how she feels. That's her right to do so, and I wouldn't want to take that away from her. But just because she has that right, Niall also has that right, but Niall's done a lot more than her. Niall's exposed government corruption. He's exposed big business, the landlords basically using the migrants and asylum seekers to rise the price of rent in the local area, driving out native people, and basically people not being able to afford rent. And that's progressively where we're going to in the next 10 years, where rent's going to be so sky high because of the amount of people that Ireland is bringing in that you're not going to be able to afford a place. And you would think to yourself, who financially gains from this? There you go. Landlords, big business. Where do all these landlords reside? Well, there's a lot of them in the Dáil. So I'd just like to say to anybody out there that's a socialist, people for profit, people that are trying to house homeless people at the minute, you really have to look at where this inflation is coming from, especially the inflation of rent and people just trying to make ends meet. Well, it's coming directly from the Dáil and their policies on immigration. Whenever you allow lots of people into a little island like Ireland and that inflates the prices, obviously it's going to have a devastating effect. Niall McConnell has exposed this, and he didn't get an award. He didn't get an award from anybody, except what did Niall get? Niall got called a far right activist. You heard it. That's what he got. So when a lady jumps out of her car, disturbs the peace, and has antisocial behavior, she's given an award for anti-racism. But when a person exposes government corruption, big business, landlord corruption, and stands up for the Irish people, he's called far right. So that would lead me to believe that like charities like the Migrant Charity and news organizations like Belfast Live would be state owned. And then that leads me to this, where we're seeing a common theme around Western society at the minute, where you have Ireland. We'll just use Ireland for an example, but you could say San Francisco, LA, where they're absolute hellholes. They're liberal hellholes where there's drug use is up, crimes up, murders up, rape is up, every type of criminality is up, and these places are just zombie towns. Now, Ireland, in the smaller scale of things, you have an open door policy, which is allowing more drugs into the country. Fentanyl has hit Ireland, and this is only being facilitated on the basis that Ireland has an open door policy, which it has. 70% of the people that come into Ireland do not have a passport. They do not need identification. And we have an open door policy where anybody can come in, and they're bringing everything in with them. And people know that. So they bring all the drugs of the day, hence why there is fentanyl on the streets of Ireland. Lots of it. And not only that, but under this open border policy, Ireland is basically running a human shipping ring where you have girls being shipped in here from West Africa, and when they're in the company of the child services for no more than 5 minutes, Tusla, they're tracked by a West African gang, kidnapped, and then they're found a year later inside a brothel. So you tell me, is it far right to expose that? Is it far right to not want drugs all over your cities? Is it far right to want to preserve your land? Is it far right to want a cap on the illegal immigration? Just say, look, just let people in with passports. That's going to reduce it by 70%. Is that a real far right view? No, they're not far right views. They're called logical views. But to the wacky left that's running Ireland at the minute, that anything that veers away from their peripheral vision is considered far right, even if it's just a normal opinion. Teacher who confronted Irish far right figure in viral clip tweeted by Stormzy says, "I do it again without hesitation." And there's the lady there. That's her with her demonic eyes pointing the finger. How dare you expose government corruption, Niall? How dare you point out that the Irish people are suffering while migrants are given absolutely everything? How dare you, you far right racist bigot? School teacher whose video confrontation with far right campaigner went viral and was tweeted by rap superstar Stormzy has said she would do it again without hesitation, despite her fears in the aftermath of the incident. Sarah Roberts, a 51-year-old mother of two who teaches French at a school in County Donegal, was speaking to Belfast Live in her first media interview since she stopped her car to confront the far-right activist Niall McConnell outside a property housing refugees earlier this year. The brave teacher said she didn't take kindly to the campaigner who calls himself the Irish Patriot on social media and is described as a Kenara leader, that means, of the fringe extremist group Seol Nahiran, which means Irish Seed, for standing outside people's homes, filming and telling untruths. Now, you can see what they're doing there. They're constantly using words like far right, and they've just stated there that he was telling untruths. Well, what untruths has Niall told? Niall has exposed big business and their, let's just call the spade a spade here, their slavery market, when they're bringing people in here in their droves from Africa and the Middle East, rising the prices of the rent. Nobody can get a house, and they just keep doing this and doing this. So if you expose that, you're a far right bigot. So tell me that's not true, because that's exactly what's going on here. Last week, she was presented with a special award at a ceremony in Derry, hosted by the anti-racism charity Northwest Migrants Forum, who created the special prize specifically to recognise Miss Roberts for standing up to the far right. Now, you can see what they're doing there. They're creating whack job awards for whack job people. So then it gives the whack job people a sense of, oh, this is where I belong. So what you're actually witnessing here is the actual far left. I'll leave it at that. I don't think you need to hear any more. She won an award. We're not going to give her the respect of reading the whole thing because I couldn't care. She's won some silly, stupid award that means for absolutely nothing. This, standing up to the far right, define far right. Ask me to define far left. Do you know what I mean? What is this? We use these terms, far left, far right. These are whack jobs. What you're witnessing here is whack jobs, whack job activity. So what this does is with antisocial behavior, it says to the people who are antisocial, who are anarchists, look, if you act this way, not only do we condone this behavior, but we're going to give you an award for this. Now, I'm not getting at this lady for confronting Niall. She can get out of the car and confront them all she wants. As I say, I'm not anti-immigration. I'm not anti-refugee. I think immigration's good for the country. A good, healthy, every country needs good, healthy immigration, and every country needs to do their fair share. What you're doing right now, though, is not immigration or helping refugees. It's allowing thousands of people in. 400 people a week are coming into Ireland. 400 people a week are coming into Ireland, and that's doubling every week. It's going up. That's a low estimate. That's a very conservative estimate. And if you come out with that and you say those things, and you're considered a far-right bigot. So people like this should come up to Niall and speak to him. And maybe if they want to get angry, that's fine. But the way she got out of that car was antisocial, aggressive, and she was rewarded for that. So that's telling the kids and the people that are indoctrinated by this far left cult that it's okay to do this. That actually, if you do this, we're going to give you an award, because that's what they want. They want to reward the idiots. It's like Harry Potter. Remember that teacher in one of the Harry Potter movies with she was nice and cute and she had kittens on the wall, and then she would give Mr. Filch all the rewards whenever he was cracking down on the students doing, just normal day things. But realistically, she was working for Voldemort. That's what this is. It looks cute and cuddly on the outside, but deep down inside and behind the scenes, there's some Voldemort type character with no nose, slits for eyes, no ears, controlling everything. And that's what it is. So whenever you speak up about the migration crisis, whenever you speak up about big business basically using these migrants as slaves and for monetary purposes, slaves, then you're called a far right bigot and a racist. Do you see? And the state will reward people that go into their little category, into their little box. I'll never be a part of that little box because they're whack jobs. This lady is a whack job. She is a school teacher in a school, and you'd really have to think to yourself, do we really want these people teaching our children? Right, guys, that's the end of the video. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Leave a comment in the comment section. Just on a side note, I'm not deleting comments. YouTube does that itself to hold them for review. I had to have been 400 to 800 comments. I could be, I don't know if that's true or not. Like I didn't count the comments, but I sat for 20 minutes allowing comments just constantly without even looking at them. Like there was horrible comments, so you just allowed them all. There wasn't a setting just to allow all the comments. And yes, if you want to go follow me on the free speech platforms, the links can be found in the description, my X and my Rumble. And thank you to everybody that's bought me a coffee. I appreciate that. Beautiful people. I'm not here just for the money. I'm not here for the money at all. My stuff isn't monetized. And if you want to buy me a coffee, the link can be found in the description, and respect everybody that does that. So, yes, guys, have a fantastic week and peace.